Good afternoon, everyone. It is 2 o'clock on August 10th. We are happy to be here to work on our continuing our projects on the 6 different principles of IDEA. And today we are going to take a deep dive into parental and student participation and decision making. My name is Amy Synar. I am a parent-child advocate with the Oklahoma Parent Center, and my partner in crime is...
Hi, I'm Jennifer Doherty. I'm also an advocate here at the Parent Center.
Thank you, Jennifer. So, housekeeping. Let me move my slide here for you. There we go. Jennifer, do you want to start with housekeeping?
Sure, just a little housekeeping we'd like to go over with you. So don't forget to mute yourself, and we want to protect your family's privacy. So if you have a sensitive question, please feel free to contact the Oklahoma Parent Center directly at the 877-553-4332. And at the end of the training, we'll request that you answer our 6 poll questions before we discuss further questions or concerns.
Thank you, Jennifer. So let me go quickly over what is OPC, or the Oklahoma Parent Center. The Oklahoma Parent Center is a non-for-profit agency that is statewide, federally and state funded, a parent training and information center, or a PTI. We help families with children with a full range of disabilities from ages birth to 26. We assist biological parents, foster parents, grandparents, service providers, and self-advocates. Our training and resources are free to families and professionals alike, but please note that there are over 100 different training centers in the United States, and that the Oklahoma Parent Center staff consists of parents and siblings with disabilities and self-advocates.
So over the next 30 minutes, we'll discuss what it's meaning by parent and student participation as defined by IDEA. How does IDEA define the word parent, review parental rights, student participation, and self-advocacy?
That's right. The big picture, meaningful student participation. IDEA requires that parents, and when appropriate, students must have the opportunity to have meaningful parental participation, meaningful parent and student participation within the child's educational process. Parents should expect an invitation to meeting. Parents and students alike have the right to request a draft of the IEP prior to the meeting. Develop a statement of parental concerns for their child's IEP. And once the team has developed the document, the parent and the student have the right to take the IEP home to review and process the program that's been developed. Finally, once all members of the IEP team has signed the document, parents have the right to keep a finalized copy of the IEP themselves, as well as the student.
So according to IDEA, the term parent is listed as a biological or adoptive parent, a foster parent, a guardian, or an individual acting in place of a biological or adoptive parent. So let me break down the explanation. IDEA definition of a parent could include a grandparent, step-parent, or other relative with whom the child lives, or an individual who is legally responsible for the child's welfare. IDEA also addresses the state's responsibility to protect the rights of the child when a parent or guardian is unknown, unavailable, in permanent custody of the state, or an unoccupied homeless child. The surrogate parent is recruited and trained by the child's school district to fulfill FAPE for the child with a disability by requiring a student to be represented by a surrogate parent.
Parent and student participation rights, the bottom line. The bottom line of parent and student participation is grounded in the first principle of IDEA, called free and appropriate public education, or FAPE. FAPE permits and encourages parents and students, when appropriate, to actively participate in the decision-making process, to see themselves as equal members of the IEP team. For example, through consensus, the team will determine eligibility, placement, and related services if the child is found to be a child with disabilities as written in IDEA. Through consensus, the team will also develop, review, and revise the IEP with the intention of meeting the current and unique needs of the child. But never doubt your role as your child's parent, that your input within the decision-making process is necessary and welcome when making decisions regarding your child's educational needs.
So let's talk about the bottom line. The bottom line in regarding student participation can be summed up from section 1400 of IDEA. Disability is a natural part of the human experience and in no way diminishes the right of individuals to participate in or contribute to society. Improving educational results for children with disabilities is an essential element for our national policy of ensuring equality of opportunity, full participation, independent living, and economic self-sufficiency for individuals with disabilities.
Jennifer and I both thought that was a very meaningful statement and gave some insight and some concrete foundation as to where student participation comes from and how important it is. So thank you for reading that, Jennifer. So IDEA requires that the student must be invited to any IEP team meetings if transition services are to be discussed. Transition to adulthood planning requires of the student's IEP team, but is required of the student's IEP. But keep in mind, the student's goals must be based on the student's current needs, preferences, and interests. Transition to adulthood planning is a great time to start practicing self-advocacy skills. So what are self-advocacy skills? Self-advocacy is the ability to communicate a person's needs. Self-advocacy, a life skill, is so important and powerful. Studies show that individuals who advocate for themselves have greater opportunities to be successful within school, work, and life in general.
So on our slide 10, you'll see tips for students to practice making decisions which affects their life and their life by knowing yourself. Their long life, by knowing yourself. So understanding your disability, what your strengths and weaknesses are, will help you to exercise your rights and know when to ask for help.
Moving on to parent and student participation and blunders and tips. Aha, on this slide, we've created a list of blunders and tips to be remembered while you and your student advocate and collaborate with the IEP team. Some could be easily made errors, or such as neglecting to invite the student to the IEP. Or to record what took place during the IEP meeting, or that was the IEP simply being followed. Some tips we suggest that you make is to make sure transitional planning begins before the age of 16, and to make draft proposal copies of the IEP and provide those to the parents, and request that the IEP enables the student to make, ensures that the IEP does enable the student to make progress. So now we're on to questions and answers. But before we move to questions and answers section of the presentation, please complete the following poll questions. Letitia, would you help us with that?
There are 6 questions that should be on your screen now. Please take a moment to answer those. We will just leave them up for just a couple of more seconds, and then we're going to go on to question and answers. I will let you know that at this time, I am going to stop. So I am going to stop the recording, so that way any questions that you may have will not be recorded as part of the session.